Hey everybody, I know I promised that my next video was going to be the seat in the cabin, and the cabin all cleaned up, but things never work out the way you want them to. You can see I finished painting over here, and the paint in the middle of the hub is the original paint, and then this is the new paint. So you can see it matched fairly well. It's still slightly lighter than the original paint, but I'm never going to get it perfect, I don't think so. But one of the issues was I forgot that when I welded this floor in, I was a retard, and I welded it directly over top of the nuts for mounting it. They're like little nutserts that are inside of the the floor supports. So I welded that right over top of them on both sides. So I actually had to measure the bolt holes for the bench seat and find out where they were. As you can see right here, I kind of butchered the floor a little bit. I had to cut out a small section to kind of find it. You can see I found it right there. And then I just kind of filled it in with weld. I was tired and I just didn't care. So I'm going to take my grinder, or my flap disc, and I'm going to grind that smooth. I'm going to make like a little cardboard box though, so it doesn't like get shavings everywhere, and grind it smooth so that way the seat has a flat surface to sit on, and same with the other side. But as far as the seat goes, I was checking it out, like vacuuming it all up, because it had like hay and seeds and acorns and stuff inside of it. And I was looking at the springs, and the springs in the back are pretty good shape. They're not broken or worn out or out of place or anything like that. But the springs on the driver's side were in pretty bad shape. Passenger side is good, but the driver's side was bad. So you can see I have my welder hooked up to it, and if you notice, there's some charred foam seating material, whatever. So this spring right here was bad. It was broken off. It only has 2 coils left. It originally had 4, so I welded it to the framing. You can see. We'll see how long that lasts. I'm not sure. So the other broken spring was broken right here where my finger is. It was broken down inside here, so that's why as soon as I tack welded that, just like for 2 seconds, it just like caught up in flames, and like the fire was all the way up here, and I had to blow it out. But I had some wet rags, and I also have a fire extinguisher in a sink, like, you know, right near me, so I wasn't worried about the whole thing going up in flames. But it did get pretty toasty, you can see. So and this spring up here was broken in the same spot, just like that one. And then also up here was broken, and this one, the coil spring, you see the coil spring right there? Right here, that coil spring is missing the bottom half, so I can't weld that one together, and that sucks. This is what the coil spring looks like. So this is the passenger side one, so your right butt cheek or your right hip will be right there. And the driver's side, your left hip is going to be right there. So since there's no extra spring right there, I can kind of push this by hand, and it kind of flexes pretty good. So that kind of sucks. I need to find a replacement coil spring somewhere. I'm not sure if they make them for seats like this. I'm sure they do. They're probably somewhere online. I can just get like some kind of coil spring and just kind of mount it in there. And the other spring that was broken, let's see, I got the one up here, the coil spring, the one right where my finger is pointing, that one was broken, this one was broken, this one was broken, and the one down here was broken, which is like, this one right here is to this spring. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 springs, 7 springs broken on the driver's seat. This design kind of sucks. I can see why it would break, like constantly up and down, eventually it just kind of wears out the metal and it just breaks it. So hopefully my welds worked. I had to weld some of them on the low setting, but some of the thicker ones I had to weld on high setting. They just like broke when I welded on low, so that's kind of why it went up in flames in some spots, because I was welding it really hot. You know what I mean? So yeah. I guess this is the kind of foam that they used in the 70s for like mattresses and everything, man. I can just imagine how many people fell asleep in their car with a cigarette in their hand and just like set themselves on fire, you know what I mean? Or in their home laying on their mattress, you know, they just burned alive, because this stuff, it just like instantly goes up in flames. So not very safe material. So but yeah, hopefully that works and it doesn't break again. I'm sure maybe one or two of them will break. I'm a pretty big guy. I'm almost 300 pounds, so I have a feeling I'll probably break some more of these. So if I do, I'll try to weld it again, but the problem is welding it so close to the foam is actually starting to melt a lot of the foam now. And I don't want to melt too much of it, you know what I mean? So I want some kind of cushion, but we'll see what happens, you know what I mean? So maybe I can order new springs and kind of like tie them in there, and or I don't know. So, but part of the reason why they broke is because of age, like I said, going in and out, in and out, in and out. But another reason is because some of these are kind of rusty. They're not like flaking rust. Some of them kind of feel like they would be, but it's the rust and the age. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my can of rust reformer, and I'm just going to, you know, just lightly coat all the springs. You know, I'm not going to coat the whole insulation with it, but just lightly coat the spring, just to give it a little more protection. You know, all the metal framing I'm just going to coat with some rust reformer. Another thing I need to do with the seat is, I don't think this bench seat is a folding bench seat. I think it just slides forward and back, and that's it. It's probably the older design. Again, this is a 76 J10, and the transition from 75 to 76 was... 76 was the newer style, all the way up to like 87, and under 76 was the older style from 63 to 75 or whatever. So I think they changed somewhere in between, like 71 or whatever, but so yeah, the older style. So I don't think it's a folding bench seat. I think it just slides back and forward. So my point is, you grab this thing right here, you lift it up, and it swivels this mechanism, and it slides the seat back and forward. This mechanism also has like a cord to it, kind of like a parking brake, and it attaches down here, and it's supposed to lift... I can't really do it by hand, but it's supposed to lift this one to make the seat slide back and forth, but there's so much slack, it doesn't... it just pulls the slack. So I need to take this wing nut, put some PB Blaster or something on there, and tighten the wing nut to get some of the slack done, so both sides can slide back and forth, oops, together. So, but yeah, again, that's why the seat is not in, because apparently the seat needed a lot of fixing. So, and I don't know if I showed you guys, but this is the cushioning. I'm probably going to get a seat cover eventually for it, because unfortunately it is ripping right here. So eventually this is going to tear, and it's just going to have a big rip, you know, right here. The rest of it, the fabric is kind of starting to go. You can see where these little in-between checker marks are. Like right here, it's starting to go right here. So right now it's in decent shape, like decent, you know what I mean? For its age. I have seen pretty much all these bench seats, it's like no cushion at all left. People throwing like clothes, old clothes in here for padding, which is stupid because Joann's Fabric sells, you know, new foam. So, but anyway, probably going to get a seat cover for it. I just need to find a nice blue seat cover like this. I would like a nice vinyl one, you know, that can kind of just wrap right over it. So, but I don't think I'm going to find something quite like that. I just don't really like the universal ones. The universal ones have a really ugly color and pattern to them. I don't know. So, but, and I found out the reason why these holes are here is because when the springs broke, they just poked right through the vinyl. So, so anyway, that's the seats, and that's the welds and stuff, and I need to find out what size bolts go for these, because I just don't know. Nobody is answering me on the Jeep forum. I have to ask on the Facebook pages. if I can't find the right size bolts, I'm just going to find a bolt that's close enough and either cross-thread it just to screw it in there, or drill it out and tap it to the next size, and that'll probably work. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. Probably should have welded this outside the barn, not inside the barn, just in case it went up in flames. But again, fire extinguishers, sink is like 2 feet away. Wasn't too worried about it, but yeah, man, be careful welding these seats with all this insulation in here, because this stuff just goes up instantly. So, but I had no other choice. It's either that or figure out how to take this seat apart. And to be honest, I don't want to take this apart because it's like ripping and it's old, and it's just, if I take it apart, these little ties are going to break and it's just going to fall apart. I don't want to mess with that. Just leave it like it is and just fix what I can. So thanks for watching, guys.